The CW is already known for their deep bench of superhero shows, but yesterday they made history by dropping their first black lead in the highly anticipated Black Lightning. We'll tell you all about whether or not they lived up to that right after this.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
If I want money and power, respect my mind, or die from last shout. I pray my dick get biggest deal in town, so I can go for the world for 72 hours. Goddamn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TV pilot reviews here on AfterBuzz TV. Some of you guys might be a little confused because you already know that we did in fact cover Black Lightning once at AfterBuzz today, but we're a different show. That was the Black Lightning After Show. This is TV Pilot Reviews, where every week we review a brand new TV pilot. But we are so excited to talk about this brand new CW show, Black Lightning. Before we get into our coverage, though, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to find me online, you can do so at Jeffrey C. Graham. And I have a whole room full of brilliant co-commentators that I would love to introduce.
Hi guys, Linda Antwi. I am excited to talk about this show, very excited. You can find me all across social media at Linda is So Girly.
Hey guys, I'm Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. And again, we are in the live chat. I know you guys are excited to talk about it, so keep on chatting. We'll give you some shout outs.
And I'm DeAnjilo. You can hit me up on Twitter at DeAnjilo TV or on Instagram at DeAnjilo. By the way, Jeff, the chat thinks you had a great intro.
Great.
Oh, thank you. I was feeling pretty good
Yeah,
about
it was a pretty good one. Yeah.
Thanks,
You're
yeah.
on it.
Oh.
And finally, guys, we do have a very, very special guest here today. We did the same thing when we covered Happy on Sci-Fi. Up until like 3 weeks ago, I thought that DC comics were about Washington, D.C. So I thought we needed to bring someone here who's actually a superhero fan. So Drew,
Hi.
we're so excited to have you guys. We have
Thanks
the
for having
brilliant
me.
and beautiful Drew Jones. Drew, where can they find you online?
You can follow me on all the things at OKDrewJ.
And it's great synergy right now because Drew's actually on the Black Lightning
I
After
am.
Show. So just so you guys know, again, this is TV Pilot Reviews. Our YouTube channels are broken up into different platforms. So if you're listening on the podcast, you know what you're doing. But if you're on YouTube, this is on our feature channel, the TV Pilot Show. If you're looking for more specific in-depth coverage of Black Lightning, you can check out our AfterBuzz TV Superheroes and Sci-Fi channel, where you will find a deep after-show coverage for Black Lightning, and they'll be there every week. Also, we have a note from our brilliant producer. Drew's camera is out. No big deal. Drew, we'll have you on audio, but for a minute, we're just gonna.
That's why my children.
You can just
Slouch a little.
We are going to do. The first thing we do, Drew, is we go with our overall reaction to the show. Just maybe like 20 seconds about what you thought, and then your pass or play. So whether or not you're a pass or a play, and whether or not you think an audience should pass or play. So we'll actually start with DeAnjilo, do the table, then come to you.
All right, dope.
Out of 5. Wow, I actually didn't have a number in my head.
No. This is pass or play,
Oh,
DeAnjilo.
it's a pass or play. That's
The
right.
end,
Oh
God.
man, wow.
It's been a
I'm
long
already thinking
day,
about
y'all.
the end of the show. I'm play for sure.
What did you think of the show overall?
I enjoyed it. I compare it to Luke Cage subconsciously because I know that I feel like it's like a response to it in a way. Me and Linda were talking about that, and I liked this character and the way the show was written more than I did Luke Cage.
I loved it. I definitely am a pass. Thought it was so much fun.
play?
A play or a pass? You said you're definitely a pass.
All four of us.
I loved it so much, you guys. I'm a
Pass on
pass, though. It was awful, but I loved it. No, I'm a play, obviously. I was looking at the chat a little bit, got distracted, but thought it was really, really well done. The casting was amazing. And I love CW shows, and I don't mean this as a knock to CW shows. I just didn't feel like it was one, which in a good way. But yeah, I loved it.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the writing. I love the casting. I love the nods directly to the comic itself. I'm definitely a play.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed by this pilot. I think the thing I really liked about it was clearly still playing by the rules of good network television. You know, it has the, I think, mainstream appeal that a lot of audiences can tune in, which might not be true of like a Luke Cage, but it also had this very, very subversive element where it was clearly asking pretty complicated and nuanced questions about, I think, black culture. And I just was pretty blown away by its ability to deliver the comfort food elements of network that we love, but ask really, really challenging, nuanced questions about race relations in today's world. I was pretty blown away, and I did not expect CW to bring a show like this. And granted, I don't watch other CW shows, so I'll be excited to kind of talk about how it fits in the landscape of their other work. But before we do that, Drew, I would love to hear your thoughts overall and whether you're a pass or play.
As someone who grew up on the Black Lightning comics and stuff, I was so excited about this, and it was everything I could possibly ask for, like, in a DC TV show. I think it's exactly what we need to see on TV right now. I'm like super play.
Great, awesome.
I like that. I'm gonna use that next time. I'm a super play.
Super play.
Super play.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. This is a very good show. Drew, how do you feel like it compared to the comics? I'm interested to ask that question.
It set it up perfectly. Like, I was waiting for it to, because obviously I'm also on the Flash panel, and a lot of the Flash, you know, they touch on multiple versions of the Flash, but it really kind of has gone off script as far as the comics. And Black Lightning so far has really been so true to who Jefferson Pierce is, his daughters, like everything about it is so on point. Like, I'm really excited to see where it decides to go and what possibilities are gonna pop up.
Cool. Well, at this point in the show, we always get into a bit of the development history of the show. So the idea for this show has kind of been brewing, for a long time, but really came to fruition in September 2016. It was being developed with Warner's, and they initially pitched it to Fox. And Fox picked it up, but it eventually moved to CW. But of course, the mastermind Greg Berlanti's kind of been behind all this the whole time. He's sort of the godfather of the Arrowverse, is that what they call it? But very, very importantly, and I think very, very smartly, they brought in the Achilles, most notably Mara Brock Akil, who's known for just a slew of hits. First, Girlfriends, that show spin off The Game, and then Being Mary Jane, which is a show that I actually really like. I like Gabrielle Union, but I think it was really, really smart for this kind of big collective of pretty white CW executives to bring on Mara Brock Akil, because I think it just really helped the show.
I think it helps the network too.
Yeah.
I think that it's right up their alley, and to bring in that diversity and a whole cast, I think it's fantastic.
It would probably bring people to the network that usually don't watch their
Absolutely.
content. Or
Yeah. And as like an avid, or I used to be more of an avid CW watcher, I did think of Fox when I saw this pilot, but there was a CW-ness about it that was enough encompassing that can bring that younger audience because of the daughters. They're so relatable. They're very pretty. You know, there's a lot of things that play into it, the high school of it all, on top of the bigger theme, which, you know, isn't very CW, and I think it worked well. They just did a great job.
Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the theme is very CW because I host the Arrow after show, and it's right up that whole Arrowverse alley. You have the protagonist. He's like a vigilante, which is same as Flash, same as Arrow. So although it's a standalone, I can see how it's going to be a good piece for this puzzle.
Yeah, I actually think it brings, but because CW is either like big dramas or they're, superheroes, and I think Chris Williams, who plays Jefferson Pierce, said in the interview that Black Lightning is essentially a black family drama that just happens that they're superheroes. So I think it's like a perfect meeting of what CW embodies, and I'm here for it.
And all you guys in the chat, I know, are super into it. Bryce Blackwell says Black Lightning is epic. Most people are just super into this. The pilot episode was very good. This is the first one. Has it been the first one that we've all been in very strong agreement with?
I guess The Shy, too, which
Which
is also
one?
a very black show.
I wasn't here. I wasn't here for that one.
Yeah. Martin, this is Maisel, too, but that was before you were
Yeah,
here.
and
But
we haven't
I
even
watched
aired
it
that.
and love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while we've all come
All
to a
four of us.
consensus.
Well,
Yes.
also Alone Together, right?
Yeah.
We all loved it, didn't we?
I feel like I'm allergic to hearing anything about that.
So, is anyone here? Well, then we'll jump back to you, Linda, if that's okay. Who here is a fan of Mara Brock Akil? Sorry, I'm like not being able to speak today. Who here is a fan of Mara Brock Akil's previous work? So, how do you feel like this compared to her other stuff, Linda?
I feel like it's kind of in our alley, but a little bit different because with her other shows like Girlfriends and Being Mary Jane, you have more of like a
Female.
not just a female lead, but it's comfortable. Do you know what I mean? This is uncomfortable but comfortable at the same time. Like, I loved how they brought in current day issues like police brutality and systemic racism and struggling with family and divorce and all the things that are present day right now. So I felt like it was similar in that her writing is similar, but then she's kind of like branched out a bit.
You're a fan of Barbara Kill stuff too, or
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like a bit of a different zone, but it's still thematically a lot of what she's interested in. Also, interestingly, her husband actually has sole writing credit on this episode.
Interesting.
So I guess the world's most brilliant couple, but good for them. So one question I have, Drew, we've been talking about the Arrowverse and kind of dancing around how CW has this big world of superhero shows.
Right.
Why the choice, do you think, to make this stand alone?
I think because, one, it's a lot heavier of a show than the others. I mean, Arrow's a little bit heavier in comparison, but The Flash, up until this season, has been very lighthearted. So I think you almost weaken the points they're trying to get across in Black Lightning if you put it in this universe where everything's kind of like bubbly and there's kind of corny jokes sometimes. And like, also, Arrowverse is just getting too big. Like, these crossovers, as dope as they are, 4 days, and like there's, so many shows. I just feel like they really wanted to give this its own like chance to strive on its own, and to throw it into the Arrowverse, I feel like you're just kind of throwing it in there and having it fight against all these other shows for dominance
that have been established for so many years already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I agree, but someone in the chat, Derek Hogan, said Black Lightning isn't part of the Arrowverse, though I bet it will be if it gets renewed for a season 2, since the same thing happened with Supergirl.
Interesting.
I actually think because Black Lightning, he in the comics gets offered to join the Justice League, and he like turns that down, and he's actually one of the founding members of the Outsiders, which is like another realm or another like team that like Batman puts together. And I feel like Black Lightning will almost be its own universe where it'll kick off a whole like different series of superhero.
Oh,
if CW continues to do this whole superhero thing, I would like to see it maybe kick off and be its own thing, because we've covered like Superman kinda like with Supergirl, like barely, but not really. So there's the opportunity for Superman, there's the opportunity for Batman, there's opportunity for the Justice League, that's Aquaman, that's Cyborg. There's so many people that like could easily have dope shows, and I think they're gonna, and they all kind of have darker backgrounds too. So I think that would be dope to see Black Lightning start its own universe, and so I'm hoping they don't put it together.
I think it is kind of nice, though, that right now the show stands on its own. Because, like, I think in media, we're so quick to try to whitewash. I mean, like, this is such a black show. I couldn't believe that on network it was so awesome. There was maybe 2 white people that showed up in this show. And it's almost refreshing that they don't feel the need to ingratiate it in this already very white Arrowverse. It's just kind of its own thing.
I mean, I honestly, now that you say that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. But I didn't even think about it. In all honesty, I'm like, okay, like we have mostly black leads. That's awesome. But I didn't even notice that none of the other characters
And
were
that's
white,
what makes
really.
it a great show.
For
Because
sure.
you're looking at the character and not about everything else.
Yeah, the show, I think any good show with the social message has to do this, where it has to be story first. It has to be a family drama before it's a superhero show. And the African-American themes are just so easily integrated into such a beautifully told story, I think. I was very impressed by this pilot.
Well, I think when you have black writers, like, they can tell the black story because they live the black story. It's authentic, it's real. So it's not like, hey, like, we're superheroes and we're black, check us out. Like, it's just like, this is our life, we're black people, we're superheroes. Like, it all meshes very well together.
Yeah, I thought so too. Well, at this point, guys, we're going to start to get into some more spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen the show, this would be a good time to tune out. Obviously, all of us liked it. We'd recommend it. But at this point, we're going to talk about specifics about the episode. So let's talk about this cast. Cress Williams is Black Lightning. What do you guys think?
Love him.
He killed it. Yeah.
Love.
I was telling Dee earlier that he embraces that tortured soul as an artist, and it comes across perfectly for a superhero.
Well, It's so funny because I watched it and I didn't want to IMDb him because I knew that I knew this person from like a favorite TV show that was older or a favorite movie that was older, and I just wanted it to come to me. And I was talking to you, Drew, about it, and I figured it out was Never Been Kissed. Do you remember that Drew Barrymore movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he was one of the guys that like worked with her. He was like helping her kind of spy on people like with a van. It's a great movie. You guys haven't seen it.
It
But-
sounds totally not creepy.
I made that sound way creepier than it was because she was undercover. She was undercover, but he was hilarious.
So then it's fine.
Yeah, she was hilarious in that movie, and he was hilarious, and he was also in Heart of Dixie, and he kind of just is such a familiar face, and you don't know who he is, and I love him.
Yeah, badass performance. I mean, like, it could have almost towed the line into cheesy or kind of overwrought. Like, there's one moment when he's like, "You got to give me my chance to say my." And like in theory, that shouldn't work. Like I think on the page, that's a risky thing to write into your script. He pulled it off so well.
Yeah.
There's almost elements of blaxploitation film in here. Like I kind of got some Shaft. I don't know if I'm.
Yeah.
Definitely some Shaft.
Yeah,
For
just
sure.
in the best way. Like it's just like an empowering badass show and an empowering badass performance too. And I love narratively how they frame him as the high school principal of this school as almost a microcosm of the community. Like he's the ultimate authority figure in all of these positions. I just so smart.
Which is in line with the comic. Because
Yeah.
in the comic, he was a teacher, Olympian, and then became a principal, like gave it all up and became a principal, which was, I think, great.
Yeah, I just think it's a trickier performance than we might be realizing. And I think he's doing it in such a naturally easy way.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't know the story, haven't read the comics, didn't know the story from the comics, and I was so nervous the first 20 minutes of the episode that he was going to die or like one of his family members was going to die, and that was going to throw him into superherohood in a way, and I'm so freaking relieved
Yes.
that was not this
I'm with
show.
you there. I didn't know the story either, and I was like, man, I like the daughters and I like the dynamics too much for someone to be
Don't
dying
kill her,
first.
please.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the daughters. We have China Ann McClain playing Jennifer, who's sort of the more reckless, club-going daughter. And then we have Nafessa Williams as Anissa, who's sort of the more put-together, type A, class president type of student. What did you guys think of these two performances?
Great, and I thought they fit in line with the CW, and that's a big part of the reason I feel like it fits so well at the CW is because they're in the show.
What did you think, Drew?
I'm absolutely obsessed with both of them. I've loved China for a long time. I think she's such a great actress. So I was interested to see her in this because she's a Disney kid, so it's always interesting to see Disney kids, make that like adult
Jump.
yeah. Because some can, some cannot. But she did really great, and their characters are perfectly aligned with the comics. Like this, I think this is the first CW show I've watched, and I'm like, yep, they did. Like, okay, they did that.
One thing I really liked, and I'm walking a tightrope here, so you guys can tell me if this is something a white guy shouldn't be trying to identify. But I feel like I'm used, when I see black characters on television, I feel like they're either like super hood or they're just like so cleaned up Disney. Like it's either or. Like Raven, or I'm trying to think of a good example.
Or like from The Wire.
Yeah, but like
Any
these
character.
were girls who spoke with like African American vernacular and like talked like how I would expect black teenagers to talk, but they were also A students in a nice upper middle class family, and it felt like such an authentic portrayal of black teenagerhood. And I'm saying that as a straight white male, but I don't know if that's something you can speak to, Drew, or anyone on the panel.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's nice to finally see us in a light that's realistic.
Yes.
It's nice to, I mean, I don't know. It's nice to know that people can actually visualize us as both urban and educated, because those are not like, it's not one or the other. They can go hand in hand. So it's refreshing to see two young dark-skinned black women like be portrayed as intelligent and funny and badass
And beautiful.
Yeah.
And strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But black. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Black. Yeah.
Because that's how we do it.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool, and I was like, there needs to be more of this on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was really neat.
I agree with you. I think it was refreshing to have a three-dimensional character where she's not just one thing. She's
Right.
not, the side chick. She's not the straight arrow Disney Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Right.
that as well. She's a bit of everything. She's struggling because she's a teenager and she wants to go out and smoke weed and all of that, but she's also a track athlete and a daughter of a principal and a sister to a medical student. So it's all of that. It's there are so many dimensions of just what Black is that it's not just one thing. So it was refreshing for me to see that you can portray different things as well.
I think you have to shout out the writers too, because to exhibit that in one episode
I
in a
know.
pilot, it's just exceptional. Because we've
Yeah.
seen how difficult that is with all the shows and all the
Absolutely.
pilots we
Yeah.
watch. So
Yeah.
shout out to them.
I mean, and thinking about it now, I'm thinking about all the CW shows that I know, and they're really, I can't think of any shows that are led by either a Black male or a Black female. And all of those other characters, it's kind of weird. It's not like I ever thought about it before, but now I am. And I mean, it's kind of, it gives me the chills. Like, it's filling this amazing hole that the CW needed to fill, and I think everybody will like it. And
Yeah.
it's not isolating to any gender at
Not
all.
at all.
Or gender, race, or gender.
And it can feel so cringe when the network greenlights the Black show instead of a Black show.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like The Mayor, at least to us, felt like ABC greenlighting the Black show.
Yeah.
Whereas it really feels like, and part of this, I'm sure, was hiring the Achilles to write this show and kind of show run for them. But this is a Black show on a network, but it does not feel like it's filling an obligatory time slot at all.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, really good.
And I think the superhero component really allows, like, because there's just an affinity, or I don't want to say that superheroes like break such a racial barrier, but I feel like people's lenses towards the show can change when they know, oh, this is a superhero movie.
Absolutely.
So I think it was just kind of smart way of CW to incorporate such a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice because now it's showing proof that like Black shows can bring in the viewers. Like
yeah.
just like Jane the Virgin was huge for the Latina community because it was showing like they can lead, produce, direct a
Yeah.
show and it be successful. So it's nice to see a show like Black Lightning where we can be like, okay, cool, you can see that we clearly can bring in the ratings. So here's a bunch of new ideas, and I'm excited to see like what platforms that opens up.
Yeah.
And I wrote down some stats just to go along with that. So it's had the greatest numbers of the CW series premiere in the past 2 years.
It
Since
just came out.
since
Right.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Right.
Right.
It held 100% of its lead-in from The Flash, which is unheard of. And yeah, highest rated new series premiere.
Nice.
So bravo.
So
to
wait,
them.
just tonight?
Yeah, tonight's preview compared
This was
to
yesterday. It aired
Yesterday.
yesterday.
It
Yeah,
aired
I mean,
yesterday.
Well,
Today.
online or on TV?
On TV.
TV.
It's a Tuesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yep. There's one more character I really want to talk about, and that's his beautiful ex-wife, who is just that chemistry with those two on screen. I thought was really.
Jeff's really excited by it, guys. If you're listening,
I mean, come on, fellas, you agree, don't you?
PG-13 Jeff, guys, that's his new name.
I mean, I'm not wrong, am I, DeAnjilo?
Oh, she was gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah, and great
She's a
performance.
babe.
Yeah, she's a babe, and also amazing performance too. I thought.
Yes.
so good.
This was mentioned on your show, so I'm going to be redundant, but it's something I agreed with. It was a really interesting portrayal of a divorced couple because they're friends, they're friendly, and I think TV often only shows divorced couples who do this.
Yeah.
Whereas I think their dynamic was maybe more true. Like a lot of what we've been saying about this show, there's a much more wide breadth of divorced couples than we see on television, and I think this was a very interesting portrayal of one.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me want to know more about what happened. We know a little bit about what happened, but then, we see her give permission to kind of turn into that guy that she didn't want to be with anymore. And I love it. I'm 100% in for them. I don't want any other love interest for him whatsoever.
Even though I think that probably there is.
No.
Yeah.
The
That-
blue dress.
Yeah,
That
girl.
assistant, Miss Fowdy, was looking real comfortable. I was like, you need to chill.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not playing this.
She sure was. Okay, cool. So it sounds like we like these performances. We always talk about the writing overall. How do you guys feel like this is a pretty well written show?
Very.
Me too. I think maybe one of the strongest components of the show. Interestingly, Salima Kill said Black Lightning would not follow the villain of the week format or be a procedural because he wanted to explore the characters, even the villains. So it sounds like we're not going to be sticking to kind of the standard network procedural format that we're used to with some of these shows.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Same.
I think I saw it on the live chat earlier, but I think it was Derek. he said that one interesting thing about this show compared to the other superhero shows is that it's not an origin story. It's kind of because Black Lightning's been a hero like since he was younger, and so it just kind of jumps into the middle. And I think that allowed the pilot to be more organic in how it introduced us to the characters.
Agreed.
Netflixy too, though, kind of, not because of Luke Cage, but just the way they jumped into the story, that it's not planning on being a procedural.
Yeah.
It does remind me of the stuff Netflix does.
The thing I'm so excited about, though, just from like purely a writing/format perspective, is it's not an origin story. You're right, because Black Lightning has been working already, but we're gonna kind of have our cake and eat it too, because it looks like it will be an origin story for his daughters.
Yeah.
So how exciting that we get both the kind of jaded superhero, but then also like the doe-eyed coming of age origin story of his kids.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the comic books. What's the name of the daughter that starts having her powers at the end of the episode?
Anissa, she's Thunder, and then Jennifer is Lightning. And I'm interested to see how they do the whole, like, if they get the powers that they get in the comic books, because we haven't seen all of the tricks Black Lightning's been able to do, but in the comics, he can do he can do force fields. He can do the whole like regenerating steal electricity from other places. And Lightning, Jennifer, is basically the carbon copy of that. Like, she's basically able to do everything that he can do. But Thunder has the strength. She's kind of indestructible, not completely, but kind of. And she can she's super strong, and she can stomp on the ground and do these crazy
shockwaves.
Yeah. So it looks like they're gonna give that to her. So I'm interested to see if Jennifer gets those powers like she's supposed to.
So are the comic books about him or him and his daughters?
It depends on which comics you're following, but they're about him, and then they kind of come up like a Batman Robin type ordeal, but there's they're in and out of it.
Yeah.
So it just depends
Did they have a spin-off or anything, comic book or their own?
Not that I can think of. They should if they don't, but I don't think I ever read anything like that.
Well, I'm just excited for it, and it gives us the opportunity to see different heroes in different life stages, which is always interesting. I think from the superhero narrative is how does a high schooler deal with their powers versus how does a seasoned father deal with their powers, but again, that stuff does feel kind of almost like backseat, which is great because in the best way, where it is a superhero show second, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a drama about a struggling community first.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Speaking of that, we do like to talk about kind of these shows thematically. What do you guys see as sort of the themes that you think this show might kind of be dealing with, not only in this pilot but maybe down the road?
I'll start.
I feel like a teacher.
Sorry.
Good question.
Excuse me, Mr. Graham.
Sam.
I'll start. I'm the teacher's pet, obviously. I think because it's CW, it is going to turn into a show maybe equally about the daughters and have that be a much bigger theme. And I think a couple of people in the chat said, too, they feel like it's the daughter's story in a way, more so than their father. And, yeah, I think the CW is going to put their magic touch on it of teenage drama, but also it's going to be a mix between the teen dramas that they do and the superhero stuff they do, and then, almost, a Fox or Netflix superhero show mixed in with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they have to choose either. They can do both. And we've seen
All
plenty
of
of
it.
shows where the protagonists are 3 people or more than one person. So I don't think they should limit themselves in that way.
Yeah. I think one thing thematically that I thought was super interesting about this pilot and unexpected was there was obviously racial tension explored between black people and white people, but there was also kind of racial tension explored between black people and black people.
Yeah.
Which I did not expect to see that, especially just in one episode of the show. But there's one scene in the diner where I feel like there are 2 black fathers who have a very different idea of what fatherhood looks like. I don't know if you remember, but it's Cress Williams' character. It was Black Lightning
And Lala.
Yeah. And there's a scene where Jeff almost feels like he has to step in and kind of be a surrogate father to this kid. And that was the moment where I was like, whoa, this is a much more nuanced show than I expected it to be.
Absolutely.
Just was a really cool scene and something I didn't expect. Okay, cool. Any other thoughts we have about the pilot of Black Lightning before we move on to our last segments?
I just have a bunch of fun facts, but I can keep them to the end.
Let's fun fact first, and then we can... Ooh, nice
Oh, yeah?
alliteration. Yeah.
Okay. Lynn Pierce. So Lynn, the ex-wife.
Yes.
She is maiden name Lynn Stewart, and she is the Green Lantern's sister.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is super cool.
Another superhero I'd like to see on the CW.
Yes,
Right?
that
And
Green Lantern.
Do you think they
then-
might be kind of
Yes.
planting the seed for a Green Lantern show?
I really, really, really think mark my words, I feel like we're getting a new universe.
Yes.
And I want Green Lantern. I know a lot of people in our chat at least, we're talking about Static Shock because
Yeah.
people think that Black Lightning is his father and he's not.
Not-
But I would love to see,
The interaction or
I would love that because I remember the cartoons as a
the
kid.
cartoon
They were
was legendary.
bomb.
It was
Yeah.
good.
So-
It was trash
Okay,
can,
but
right?
but does CW will they ever will it be overkill at some point? Like, can they can't keep doing superhero shows, can they?
Why not?
Why not?
They're
They can?
making the
Okay.
money. I mean, at this point, it seems like they're cash cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Peter Gamby, so James's character, he was in the pilot episode of The Flash. And when The Flash was gaining his speeding powers, he crashed into the Gamby's Cleaner laundry van, which is right in line with this character and his tailor shop. And when they put that established since 1977 is when the actual comic book got started. So it's like
The
all
details.
the
Yeah.
details are included in this pilot, which I just thought was super. I'm nerdy like that.
I love
That's
it.
cool.
Arrow
Yeah.
stuff and how it's
It's
all
like Pixar X.
intertwined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, those are my fun facts.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
So let's go ahead. We always rate these pilots out of 5, and I'll go ahead and give you guys time to think. I can go first. I gotta give this like a 4.7 out of 5.
Yeah.
I don't think it was quite a perfect pilot. I think there's a couple bumps they want to iron out, but I mean, definitely the Shy came out this year, but one of the best pilots I've seen this year. We're off to a good TV start in 2018.
What
I
did
think.
you give The Shy?
I think I might have rated it a perfect pilot.
Okay,
I had
so-
trouble seeing anything bumpy about that,
That was
pilot.
fantastic.
But yeah.
I'm gonna go high. I was thinking like 4.5 as well. It's
Yeah.
really good. I don't know if I would say it's perfect. I think the only perfect pilot I have so far is still The Marvelous.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
It was
Mrs. Maisel.
so good.
And we were so right. It
Yeah.
won all of the awards at the
It
Golden
did. It was
Globes.
bomb.
That's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
So-
People should listen to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
4.6.
Yep. Linda
I'm gonna go 4.8.
and Drew.
I'm also going to go 4.8.
Nice. Everyone's above a 4.5.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
bad.
that's great. Yeah.
So we always do a life or death segment, whether or not we think the show's going to get a second season. I mean, is there any question that this
Well,
show?
I mean, we have a lot of shows that have had great pilots and not,
Yeah.
they still have a whole season to write.
That's
for
true.
sure.
They do.
But usually when your pilot is good as this is, I would assume so, yeah.
Does it make you nervous at all that the show won't live up to this standard, Drew, or do you think they're in pretty good hands?
I feel pretty confident about the entire. This is one of the first cast crew where I'm like, there's no weak link. Like I feel like this is a very solid group of people. So I'm not nervous about this at all.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the show's got pretty good prospects.
Yep.
And I think generally people in the chat too, they said they didn't have that high of expectations for this show. I personally don't think the CW did a very good job of promoting it
Absolutely.
at all. And I mean, I don't know why. I can guess for some reasons, but I'll just leave that to myself. But I didn't know about it. I didn't know the people in it. And since the expectations were so low, we were all blown out of the water. And I kind of think that the writers and producers, directors, just going into it, just gonna blow it out of the water. Oh, you didn't see us coming? Oh, we're gonna be the best show on TV.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, didn't it air right after Flash, right? Or so I feel like maybe they didn't need to
Yeah.
put as much when you have so many eyes on your most popular show. Maybe that was part of the argument or the thought. I just
But
randomly thought about
with that being said, too, fathers, guys, 40s, 50s, 60s, they can watch this with their daughters or their
Yeah.
granddaughters.
Yeah.
Whole family can watch this together. It isn't the same with most CW shows at all.
Yeah.
I do think it's a cool prospect for families to watch the show together because it does give us really good role models in both the daughters and the father. I
Yeah.
mean, both Jeff and Anissa
Anissa.
are, I think, really good role models for teen girls and for dads. So
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot to like about this show. At this point in the show, we usually ask you guys whether or not you want to see an after show. But the good news is, as I mentioned, there is an after show led by the wonderful Drew Jones we already have here. So just in case anyone isn't clear, this is a good chance for us to let you know. I mentioned it already, but that's airing on a different YouTube channel, still under the AfterBuzz umbrella, but specifically featuring superhero shows. So we have 8 different YouTube channels where all our content is spread out. It helps you guys kind of focus on the content you want to see, so we're doing that for your benefit. But that's just to make it clear, you won't find the Black Lightning After Show on this channel. You'll have to go find it somewhere else.
But I kind of found a shortcut sometimes when I'm looking for stuff.
Yes.
If you guys ever get confused. If you go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and within the our channel, there's a search. So you can search for things that are exclusively on AfterBuzz TV and under that umbrella.
Yes.
And you can also find things that way if you have a hard time finding the channels within the umbrella.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam. But yeah, guys, this has been TV Pilot Reviews. Any last thoughts before you wrap out, guys?
I will say we've been in cahoots with the cast already of Black Lightning. We already have a lot of them who want to come on the show.
Yay!
So you should definitely tune in because they're going to be up in here.
Amazing.
That's
So
awesome.
please tune in, guys. And I
I'm
can tell
sure
you.
if you ever need any fill-ins, all
Yeah.
of us will probably
Yes.
be watching this show.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I engineered their show tonight, and it's a really solid panel, guys. So make sure you check out that show. In the meantime, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you would like to find me online, you can do that on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham. We'll be back here next week with a new pilot. We haven't picked it yet, but it'll be something good.
I'm Linda Antwi, all across social media. Linda's so girly.
You guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, and SamDavidsonEntertainment.com.
And I'm DeAnjilo. You can hit me up on Twitter at DeAnjilo TV or on Instagram at DeAnjilo. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Drew,
so
thanks for
much.
being here. Where can they find you, Drew?
You guys can find me on all platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, at OKDrewJ.
And on the Black Lightning After Show.
Yes.
Guys, thanks for being here. See you in a week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.